Every major diet mistake starts with ignoring how hunger works. When I stopped resisting hunger and started engineering fullness, everything changed. I'm Dr. John Go. I've lost 75 pounds, and for the past few years, I've maintained 10 to 12% body fat, not through strict dieting or living in the gym, but through a system that makes getting and staying lean the default. Let me walk you exactly what I do and what I teach. What most people get wrong is that they think fat loss is about willpower. They try to out-discipline their hunger. Let me show you where most diets get it wrong. So, hunger loop, hyper-processed foods, and fast carbs lead to dopamine spikes, which eventually lead to a crash. That leads to a craving that causes you to repeat the cycle. This is what most diets get wrong. But before we get into the system, quick reminder that this is for education only and it's not medical advice. Always consult with your own doctor before making any changes. Number 1, engineer fullness. The volume of food that goes through your mouth isn't the main driver of what keeps you full. Signaling is. So protein and fat slow digestion, which increases stomach stretch and triggers hormones like CCK and PYY and GLP-1. And these hormones tell you to stop eating. This is why I build every meal with protein in mind. For example, 250 grams of beef and 2 eggs holds me for 6 hours, but 500 calories of cereal? I'm hungry in half an hour. Don't get me wrong, I gotta have my rice, I still eat carbs, but I do so thoughtfully. Here's the truth, time-restricted and low-carb diets are tools, not magic. When you boil it down, it's calories in, calories out, hit your protein, eat mostly whole foods, and stay in a deficit. That's 95% of the game. Focusing on protein is the first step in creating satiety and fullness. Now that we feel full, the next biggest problem is something we have to do thousands of times daily, and that's making decisions. Most people don't break their diet because they're hungry. They break it because they have to make so many decisions day after day, time after time. Number 2, avoid decision fatigue. When I used to round at the hospital, we'd see 20 to 30 patients every morning. The first 10 were easy, quick, fast. The last several took forever, and it's because of decision fatigue. Same goes with our diet. Every single decision we have to make takes just a little bit out of us, drains our willpower just a little bit. And each decision is a new opportunity to eat off plan. At the end of the day, when you get back home from a long day of work, you are far more likely to eat on plan for your fitness goals if you have ready-to-go meals that support those goals, instead of being tempted to pick up fast food on your way home or order DoorDash or takeout. The fix? Pre-plan your meals, pre-plan your day, pre-plan your week. Let me show you how I do this. So I have 4 to 5 go-to meal preps. For me, that means 2 meals per day times 5 days in my work week. That equals 10 meals for the work week. I spend a couple Sunday afternoon hours meal prepping those 10 meals. Just make sure to follow food safety guidelines. You can do this by either freezing some of your meals or meal prepping again midweek. When you pre-plan your meals, fat loss becomes automatic because there's no decision that you need to make. But no one wants to eat straight up chicken and broccoli all day, so let's move on to the next point. Number 3, healthify your favorite foods, aka ingredient hacking. You don't need to cut out your favorite foods. In fact, doing so almost certainly sets you up for long-term failure. Why? Because it's not sustainable. Ingredient hacking lowers calories, raises protein, but keeps 80% of the flavor or more. Take peanut butter, for example. 2 tablespoons of regular peanut butter is about 200 calories. But if you mix some peanut butter powder with some Greek yogurt, that's only about 70 calories. Another big culprit are salad dressings. Regular Caesar salad dressing, for example, 2 tablespoons is about 160 calories. But you make the cottage cheese healthy version, it's only about 50 calories and higher in protein. You can trade pasta and rice for higher protein and lower calorie versions, chickpea pasta, lentil pasta, cauliflower rice. You can even mix regular pasta with the healthy versions too. Swap out breads and tortillas for the lower carb, higher protein versions. A game changer for me was swapping out fatty meats for lean meats. So 4 ounces of 80% beef sit in your 290 calories, while 99% lean turkey sits in your 120 calories and packs even more protein. You can still eat your favorite dishes, but swap out the fatty meats for leaner ones. If you don't know where to start, pick up my Asian meal prep cookbook in the description below. Same meals, same flavor, but better macros. And don't be afraid to utilize spices and sauces. So things like sriracha, mustard, kimchi, garlic, vinegar, and herbs give tons of flavor but are almost no calories. And once your favorite meals are lighter, higher protein, and easier to fit in your day, there's one piece that makes them actually keep you full. Point 4, volume eating. So volume is greater than density. 200 calories worth of a chocolate brownie is literally a single bite for me. But 200 calories of protein, vegetables, and other whole foods can actually fill a whole bowl. Same calories, completely different signals to the brain and the gut. High volume, low density foods stretch the stomach. That activates the fullness hormones, which ultimately slows down eating and increases your fullness signals. With each meal, I build in some aspect of volume. For example, if I meal prep Caesar chicken salad wraps, I make sure to include veggies. If I make Asian bowls, I mix in some cauliflower rice with the white rice. Notice how I said mix in. People think that healthy eating is black and white, like chicken and broccoli are using only cauliflower rice. I like my white rice and I don't particularly love cauliflower rice, so what do? I mix them together. I get 80% of the enjoyment with a fraction of the calories. Easy ways to add volume without the calories are by adding veggies like cauliflower rice, soups, and broths. Now, let's switch gears and briefly talk about one of my favorite meals. Number 5, eat slower. Now, I'm not Korean, but I love Korean barbecue. Apart from the grilled meats and the great conversation with friends and family, one thing I love about it is the banchan. If you know, you know, right? But if you don't know, these are small little side dishes served before the main dishes. Apart from being delicious, they also help prevent overeating. Like I said before, CKK, PYY, GLP-1 are the I'm full hormones, and they need time to kick in, about 15 to 20 minutes to do their thing and actually get the message across. If you eat too fast, that signal doesn't get to your brain in time and you end up overeating. Personally, I know I can scarf down 1,000 calories in 5 minutes and still feel hungry. But if you take the time to bite, eat, pause, talk, reset, I'm much more satisfied by the end of the meal and I've eaten far fewer calories. You can be more intentional with this too, so while eating, talk, relax, set down your fork between bites. Another thing you can do is just be cognizant about chewing fully and enjoying the food. You can also eat soups and drink water to allow more time for that signal to get to your brain. And finally, let's address one of the biggest downfalls of most fat loss plans. Number 6. Modest calorie deficit. Most people either target too much of a calorie deficit or decrease their calories so much that they're operating on fumes. Target a maximum of 1% body weight loss per week. And truthfully, if you're on the leaner side, about 0.25 to 0.5% per week. For me, this means a 200 to 400 calorie deficit per day whenever I want to lean up a little bit. And your biology is always changing, so compare real world versus expected weight loss. Track weekly weight averages and compare it to your calorie intake. If you're not losing weight, then you have to adjust your calories. Small incremental changes in your diet are what dictates success or failure. Like Al Pacino said, in Any Given Sunday, it's a game of inches.
We claw with our fingernails for that inch.
So here's the reality. The perfect fat loss diet isn't about hacks, macros, feeding windows, eating like a caveman, or manipulating your insulin. It's about structure and psychology allowing you to hit a calorie deficit on your terms. For me, 10 to 12% body fat isn't a goal. It's the natural result of a system built around how the body actually works and how I want to live my life. And if I'm living my life how I want to live my life, there is no burnout. Build the systems and the results will follow. If you want to check out exactly how I build systems for my clients, check out this video here. You can sign up for my newsletter if you want to download this mind map. And I'll link the final mind map below so you can reference this video easily.